Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and to another video where today I'm going to be reacting to my pre-season predictions. Oh god, I'm not looking forward to this at all. Honestly, I'd be happy if I got 10 right, but I'm not confident. Let's see what I said 10 months ago about the Northern Premier League Division 1 West, starting off with the team I predicted to finish in last place. Unfortunately, one team does have to finish bottom of the table. You know, two teams do have to get relegated, and unfortunately, I'm going to predict it to be Newcastle Town this time out. So this is purely based on the fact that last season Newcastle Town finished 16th, and with the league this season being stronger than ever, you know, with a load of really strong teams getting promoted into the division and coming down into the division, I think they will be the ones that fall through the trapdoor this time around, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to predict Newcastle Town to finish in last place. Great start. Newcastle Town actually finished 15th. First one wrong, but it looks worse on paper than it actually is. Newcastle did flirt with the relegation playoff places towards the end of the season, so I wasn't too far off with this one. Next up, in 19th, the second team to be relegated this season, I think, is going to be Glossop North End. Again, they finished last season just above the relegation places and second bottom in the form table as well from those last 6 games. I think Glossop will probably carry that into this season, and unfortunately for the Hillmen, I can also see them going down. Okay, so I only got this one wrong by 1 place, and technically Glossop did go down, so I was half right at least. They finished 18th and were relegated via the Interstep relegation playoff, losing 3-0 at home to Ashington A.F.C. In 18th place we've got Ramsbottom United. Ramsbottom are a club that have sort of stagnated a lot in recent seasons after they were regularly challenging near the top end of the table, at least sort of 5 or so years ago. But I think Rami could be in for a bit of a difficult year this year, especially if they don't get the recruitment right, but crucially I think they will just avoid the drop this time round. Yeah, so this one's poor from me. Rami were cut adrift at the bottom of the league, 18 points from safety by the end of the season. Should have seen it coming, really. In 17th place we've got Kidsgrove Athletic, ending last season dead on mid-table. Kidsgrove are a difficult team to place in this list, I think. However, due to the strength of the league for the upcoming season, I think they may just take a step backwards this campaign, but will survive sort of comfortably. Early contender for worst prediction in the list, Kidsgrove finished 8th. They had a great season, with an outside shot of playoffs going into the last few games. God knows what I was thinking putting them all the way down there. In 16th place we have Skelmersdale United. Being one of the promoted sides from the Northwest Counties, I think it's sort of difficult to judge how Skem will perform this season. I think they'll sort of finish in that lower mid-table bracket, and I do think they'll be comfortable in terms of surviving relegation, especially if they can manage to keep a hold of some of the players that helped them get promoted last season, including the Northwest Counties Player of the Year, Elliot Morris. However, they have already lost Northwest Counties Golden Boot winner Michael Howard to Warrington Town, so this might prove difficult. Okay, so in my defence here, as I said, it is really difficult to predict where promoted sides will finish, and just by looking at the table, Skelmersdale would have survived incredibly comfortably on points. In fact, they did have a semi-realistic chance of playoffs at one point, but unfortunately they were relegated due to their ground failing to meet regulations for the league, and will be playing in the Northwest Counties again next season. So yep, another one wrong. In 15th, it's City of Liverpool FC. Last season was an impressive one for the Perps, where they finished 9th in their first fully completed season in the Northern Premier League. While I don't think they'll do that well this season with the strength of the league overall, there's plenty of reasons to be positive for Perps fans. They're moving back to the Berry Street Garage Stadium, where the club originally played and managed to win a treble in their inaugural season. This comes after a season of playing at the home of Vauxhall Motors FC. Being back on home turf, as well as plenty of additions throughout the squad, including more firepower up front, which is where they struggled last season, means the Perps have plenty to be cheerful for the upcoming campaign. As I said before, with the overall strength of the league this season, they may just take a step back in league position. However, that doesn't mean the overall project isn't still trending in the right direction. Not too much to say about this one. City of Liverpool finished 12th, and I predicted them to finish 15th. I was only 3 places off, but correct in saying that they'd take a step back this season. In 14th, we have Prescott Cables. Avoiding relegation last season by the skin of their teeth, despite finishing the season strongly under the management of Kevin Lynch, I think it'll be a little bit more plain sailing for Cables this time out, especially with the raft of additions they've made in the summer as well. A comfortable 14th for me. This lower mid-table section of the league is so difficult to predict. I had good reason to say Cables would finish around 14th, as they nearly got relegated the season before, but genuinely, find me someone who predicted they'd finish 9th. 13th, we've got Colne. Appointing Phil Brown as manager is a great move by Colne, as he was the one to really kickstart Clitheroe's rise up the table a few years ago under his stewardship. Owen Watkinson is also a great player at this level and will score goals. They've also got the likes of Craig Carney, Paul Dugdale and Charlie Russell, who Brownie really knows how to get the best out of. I think Colne will put their struggles from last season behind them and have a comfortable mid-table finish this time out. Yeah, I'll hold my hands up. Another shocker here from me. I predicted Colne to finish 13th and they were relegated in 19th. The worst part is, as well, as when I initially drafted these predictions, I had them in dead last, but for some reason bumped them up 7 places, thinking Phil Brown would work his usual magic and keep them up. Anyway, he left in March. Paul Weller came in for the last 7 games to try and save them, but to no avail. They had issues as well with their owners before the fans stepped in to run the club too. It was just an all-round shambles of a season for Colne, and another one that I should have probably seen coming. Hopefully they can bounce back next season though. In 12th we have Widnes. Securing the long-term future of manager David Dempsey on a deal until 2024 could be a masterstroke by Widnes ahead of the new season. Having guided the club from the relegation places to a comfortable mid-table finish after his appointment in September, under Dempsey's watch, this Widnes side could be a real dark horse next season. I said Widnes would be dark horses. What was I thinking? David Dempsey ended up leaving in September before taking the reins at Clitheroe. More on that later. They just about squeaked survival after finishing in the relegation playoff places in 17th, only to be reprieved after Skelmersdale's enforced relegation. Honestly, I think Widnes are very lucky to still be in this league next season. In 11th, we have 1874 Northwich. A 12th place finish last time out represented a strong showing in their inaugural season in the division, and I back 1874 to go one better this campaign. They're a club I'm extremely fond of, and their passionate fan-owned model is one that I think will bring them plenty of success in the near future. Again, not too much to say on this one. 1874 fans will be disappointed with the season they've had, taking a bit of a step backwards after an impressive first season in the league, but there was a lot to build on there. As for my prediction, I wasn't far off. Next. In 10th we have Moseley. A team who were in the playoffs for the majority of the season, and at one point even flirting with automatic promotion, it was disappointing to see Moseley fall away in the end and finish 8th. I think that disappointment may carry into this season and see them stagnate slightly. I said Moseley would miss out on playoffs. They did. Next. In 9th place it's Trafford. Despite finishing the season awfully last time out with just 2 points from their last 6 games, Trafford are a team that are always there or thereabouts when it comes to being near the playoffs, so a 9th place finish is probably a safe bet. I was actually so close with this one. Trafford had a great season, nearly made a late run for playoffs as well after some incredible end of season form. Not a bad prediction all round, only 1 place away, but still wrong. In 8th spot is my team Clitheroe. With Clitheroe being my hometown team, it's difficult for bias not to creep into this prediction. But ending last season on a great run of form, it's hard to see them not carrying that into the upcoming season. Goals are all but guaranteed, with both club captains Sefton Gonzalez and Max Kane remaining under contract for next season, as well as the addition of Rhys Webb-Foster. If Clitheroe can keep the bulk of the squad together that helped them finish last season so strongly, along with the new additions they've made, I'm sure they'll be a strong side next season. The Blues are a club on the up with excellent facilities, strong backing from the board, and a passionate and ever-growing fan base. I don't think it'll be long before they make their way up and out of this league. Right, someone needs to take away my Clitheroe supporters membership, because what on earth compelled me to put us this low? I did nothing but praise us in the prediction and then put us 8th. What was I thinking? I think deep down I knew we'd do well and most likely get the playoffs, but maybe was too scared to say it in case I looked biased. I don't know, honestly. That's the only reason I can think for putting this so low. But what a job David Dempsey did though. Came in, just took the squad to a whole new level. Sefton Gonzalez scoring 17 goals, the joint second top scorer in the league as well, and bagging a place in the league's team of the season too. Cam Lancaster, Chris Thompson, Richie Baker, Ross Dent, so many players from our squad I could go on, having incredible seasons. What a year it was, despite falling short to Workington in the playoff semi-final. Do you know what? Next season, in my predictions, I'm going bold. Clitheroe winning the league. In 7th, we've got Runcorn Linnets. After the heartbreak of losing the playoff final to Marine last season, I think Linnets might find it difficult to go again, hence why I'm predicting them to drop off slightly and finish just outside the playoffs. However, the appointment of former Matlock Town assistant manager David Wild as first-team boss could be a shrewd one. Couple this with the addition of former Macclesfield midfielder Sidi Sonogo, and don't be surprised if Linnets prove me wrong and actually make the playoffs again this season. Another one I went too low on here. I thought Linnets would fall away and just miss out on the playoffs, but fair play. They bounced back and finished 5th, just missing out on promotion too, narrowly losing out in the final. I'm sure they'll be right up there again next season too. In 6th we have Bootle. Despite a rocky start last season, the Bucks finished very strong in 7th, just missing out on the playoffs. If they can avoid the early season turbulence this time around, then I see no reason why they can't push for playoffs again. The club certainly have the fan base and facilities worthy of it. Okay, hear me out, I had my reasonings with this one. They finished 7th in the previous season after a horrible start, so naturally I thought, given they'd had a season to adapt to the league, they could push on and go maybe one better, but no, 13th. Honestly, why is this league so hard to predict? In 5th we have Leek Town. Consistently near the top of the East Division, before they were placed in the West Division last season, Leek enjoyed a great time of it last time out, finishing 3rd, losing 4-1 to Runcorn Linnets in the playoff semi-finals. If they can keep hold of some of their key men, namely Ollie Harrison, Billy Reeves, Will Saxon and Dan Trickett-Smith, then I think they can expect to be right up there again this season. In the clip, I literally just said they'd be right up there, but then I put them in 5th. Genuinely not sure on my logic with this one. Honestly, I should have gone much bolder with this. Leek are a great side and one I expect to be fighting for the top spot next season. In 4th I've got Hanley Town. The second of 3 promoted teams in the division for the upcoming season. To most, Hanley Town would be a difficult one to judge, having come up as champions from the Midland Premier League. However, if the reports I've heard are true, they're willing to throw a lot of money at the cause next season, so don't be surprised to see them up there in the playoffs come April. Okay. Here it is. Easily my worst prediction in the list. Hanley were miles off where I thought they'd be in pre-season. They only just stayed up as well, finishing level on points with Widnes, who ended up in the relegation playoff places. Absolute shocker from me here. In 3rd we have Witton Albion. The only side in the league that was relegated from the division above, Witton Albion will be desperate for an immediate return to the Premier Division. I think they'll make a good fist of it as well, having made a raft of strong signings early on to mark their intent. Ultimately though, if they're going to go back up, I think it'll have to be via the playoffs. Right, this is one I think I deserve a little bit of credit on. I genuinely did see people tipping Witton for a bottom half finish when I was drafting these predictions, so I think to have them only 3 places wrong isn't bad going. You can never really tell how teams are going to perform after dropping down a division, and Witton pushed for playoffs right to the wire but just missed out. I do reckon though that they're a shoo-in for a playoff place next season. In 2nd we've got Workington. Since their relegation from the Premier Division in 2018-19, Workington have been painfully unlucky not to be promoted. From having 2 seasons where they looked to be favourites cancelled due to COVID, to losing the league title on the final day last season, then missing out on the playoff final due to a 97th minute equaliser, and going on to lose 3-2 in extra time to eventual winners Marine, it's fair to say Workington fans haven't had an easy time of it in recent years. Unfortunately though, I think they'll have to settle for playoffs again this season due to the team up next. Right, I know I got the position wrong, but I'm counting this one as basically a right prediction. I said they'd go up via the playoffs, and they did. Just a shame it had to be at Clitheroe's expense, but, you know, I guess you can sort of say I got it right. Finally, in top spot, you guessed it, it's Macclesfield FC. Probably the most obvious prediction in the list, I'm going for Macclesfield FC to win the league. There's no sugarcoating it really. Macclesfield FC will have one of, if not the biggest budgets in the league next season, and by far and away the most talented squad on paper. The likes of Neil Dans, Mark Duffy and James Berry, just to name a few, are all far too good for this league, and the additions of Zeki Friars, Neil Kengi, Trey Pemberton and Alex Curran amongst others, as well as highly rated Liverpool youth goalkeeper Marcelo Pitaluga, will only add to their strength and depth. Even if somehow the Silkmen start slowly, they won't be afraid to strengthen further throughout the season, until they find a winning formula. And with 4,500 fans roaring them on each week, I think you'd be an idiot to predict anyone other than Macclesfield to win the league. Yes, I got one right, but it was the easiest prediction of the lot. I'm not even proud of myself for getting this one right. Every man and his dog could have told you Macclesfield were going to win the league before the season started, and they did quite comfortably in the end, finishing 14 points ahead of runners-up Leek. Genuinely, their squad was far too talented not to win the league, so yeah, I might have got this one right, but still, absolute shambles of first set of predictions at 1 right out of 20. Hopefully we can do a bit better on the Premier Division. I think in last place, 22nd place, getting relegated, unfortunately, is going to be Belper Town. They secured promotion last season after finishing 5th in the Midlands Division, which is probably, in my opinion, the weakest of the 3 Northern Premier League first divisions, which doesn't really bode well for a significant step up in quality in my view. Of course, somebody has to come last. It's not nice to predict anyone to come last, but I think this season it's going to be Belper Town. Yes, there we go. Straight out of the blocks. We get one right. Sorry, Belper, I probably shouldn't be celebrating your relegation so much, but I actually got the first one spot on. Moving on, the second team that's going to be relegated in 21st is Ashton United. There's no skirting around the issue really. Ashton United finished last season terribly. And I know you shouldn't read too much into it, but they looked really poor in pre-season as well against lower opposition. So I think this season, Ashton United, unfortunately, I know I've visited your club before and you're a good set of fans and everything, but sadly I think you'll go down. And straight back down to earth with the next prediction. This one could have been a lot worse too. Ashton United started the season really strongly, but just fell away as it went on and eventually slid down into 14th with a -3 points deduction for fielding an ineligible player. In 20th spot, we've got Atherton Collieries. Again, Atherton finished last season really poorly, avoiding relegation by the skin of their teeth. I think it'll catch up to them this time around as well. Sorry Coles fans, you won't want to hear this, but I think you'll be going down as well, unfortunately. Despite their social media admin not being too happy with me in the comments when I made this prediction, I wasn't too far wrong, to be honest. They just scraped survival again, this time by just a point. Worrying times for Coles fans at the moment, just surviving season after season. As I said in my prediction 10 months ago, I do think it will catch up with them eventually. In 19th, and the final team to be relegated is Liversedge. Liversedge were flying high for the most part last season, but complacency saw them nearly caught in the end by the team coming up next. I think that complacency may well bleed into this campaign and that they'll drop straight back down. Okay, so I'm counting this one as half right. I might have got the position wrong, but they did get relegated. Again, not something I should be celebrating, but this wasn't a terrible prediction. In 18th place is Marske United. I alluded to it before, but Marske United had a really good season last season, nearly catching Liversedge towards the end of the season and having a great FA Cup run as well, equalling their best ever performance in the competition, getting to the 4th qualifying round. There's a good feeling around the club, however the Premier Division is a step up in quality, but crucially I think they'll just about survive. Okay, again this one might have been wrong, but a lot of people were tipping Marske to drop straight back down, so me predicting them to stay up I'd say is a success. We're on a decent roll here, hopefully we can keep it up. In 17th, we've got Hyde United. Hyde finished last season precariously in 18th, but recovered some decent form towards the back end of the campaign. If they can carry that form into this season, I think Hyde will live to fight another day in the Premier Division. Yeah, I don't even know what to say with this one. This is as bad as my Hanley prediction. I predicted Hyde United to finish 17th. They finished 6th. They were top of the league at one point. 6th! In 16th, we've got Marine. Promoted via the playoffs from the West Division, Marine have seemingly lost a huge chunk of their squad that got them up. But crucially, I think they'll have just enough quality to survive comfortably. Another shocker this, I thought Marine would struggle after losing a lot of key players in the summer, but nope. They had a really solid first season in the Premier Division and even challenged for playoffs at one point. Doesn't look too bad though in the like that Hyde United prediction though, does it? In 15th, we've got Gainsborough Trinity. Losing manager Tom Shaw, who stepped down to focus on his new role of first-team coach at Lincoln City after being promoted from their academy, is a big blow. Whilst I'm sure Neil Bishop will step up to the plate, joint player-manager roles are often difficult to navigate. But crucially, I think the veteran midfielder will be able to steer the Holy Blues to safety this season. In addition, the signing of experienced striker Clayton Donaldson is an exciting one, as he was still able to bag 8 goals to help York City to promotion from the National League North last season via the playoffs. This experience in front of goal will be crucial for Trinity's survival this season. Didn't think it could get any worse, but here we are. In my defence, though, who saw Gainsborough Trinity having the season they did? Clayton Donaldson had the season of his life, scoring 22 goals. The bloke's nearly 40. Who saw that coming? Honestly, though, I should be banned from predictions at this point.
In 14th spot, we've got Stalybridge Celtic. Since their relegation from the National League North in 2016-17, the Celts have hovered around lower mid-table, showing few signs of getting back to where they once were. I think a repeat of last season's 14th place finish could be on the cards.
Another horrid prediction and a horrid season for Stalybridge Celtic. Mired in off-field issues which eventually saw them relegated. I wasn't aware of their ownership struggles and would have probably put them a lot lower if I had done, but I think the most important thing for the Celts going forward is the continued existence of their club over anything else. Hopefully they can find some stability next season.
In 13th, it's Morpeth Town. Having only played one full season in the division since their promotion from Division 1 East in 2018-19, in which they finished 10th, it's difficult to judge where they'll end this campaign. Losing club stalwarts like Stephen Forster, Liam Henderson, Wayne Phillips and Sean Taylor probably won't help their cause, but I don't think the Highwaymen will be in any real danger either.
Again, these mid-table positions are so hard to predict at this level, so 4 away isn't too bad. Morpeth fans will be happy they managed to survive. Next.
In 12th place, it's Nantwich Town. After a sizable drop-off last season from their regular playoff finishes, I think the Dabbers are in for another mid-table finish this time out. However, I don't think they'll have the relegation fears that they had to contend with last campaign.
Yeah, I got this one wrong. I thought Nantwich would be comfortably in mid-table, but they just took that final relegation spot and will join Stalybridge in the West Division next season.
In 11th is Whitby Town. I've seen a few people tip Whitby Town for the playoffs this season, and while I confess not to know that much about them, there's got to be a reason why they've spent 24 consecutive seasons in this division, so I think it's safe to put them around mid-table.
Make that 26 consecutive seasons in the Northern Premier League Premier Division.
10th spot is Lancaster City. Since their promotion in 2016-17, under current Colne boss Phil Brown, the Dolly Blues have seen incremental improvements year on year, going from finishing 18th in 2017-18 to 12th in 2018-19 and 11th last season. I think the trend will continue and see Lancaster end the season in a very respectable 10th place.
Right, what is it with these predictions and mid-table? I predicted Trafford to finish 10th and they finished 9th. And now this, Lancaster finished 11th. How's your luck?
9th place is Warrington Rylands. Warrington Rylands are an ambitious club with strong financial backing, which is shown in their recruitment over the summer. The capture of last season's West Division top scorer Ryan Brooke from Runcorn Linnets, amongst a number of young players with National League and EFL Academy experience, paint a picture of a side that's ready to eventually move up again into the National League system. However, I think a mid-table finish this time out looks most likely before they really push on.
Oh come on! 1 away again!
In 8th, I've got Stafford Rangers. Predicting Stafford Rangers to finish in the exact same spot as they did last season is probably a bit of a cop-out, but hear me out on this one. Losing Trey Pemberton to Macclesfield is a big blow, but bringing in Jaden White from Kidderminster as his replacement, along with EFL Academy prospects Jack Baxter, Joe Dunn and Joe Willis from Preston, Rochdale and Walsall respectively, as well as the return of Louis Morrison in defence from Macclesfield, are solid signings. Ultimately though, I don't think their squad's improved, but I don't think it's got worse either. The only worry for me is the lack of a true proven goalscorer in their squad for this level. They also had a poor home record last time out and drew far too many games. If they can fix these issues, then they could go and prove me wrong and get into the playoffs. But as it stands, they haven't improved enough to justify predicting them to finish any higher than they did last time out.
Yeah, so they didn't prove me wrong. Stafford finished 12th.
7th place is Matlock Town. Matlock fell away slightly after looking so strong in the early parts of last season, and after losing their assistant coach David Wilde to Runcorn Linnets and struggling in recruitment over the summer, I think the Gladiators may take a slight step back this season.
Nope, they had another great season, finishing inside the playoffs. It does feel like a matter of time though before Matlock go up.
In 6th, it's Guiseley, a club that's been on a steady decline for a number of years now. It was only 4 years ago that Guiseley were playing National League football. The malaise that can come with multiple relegations in such a short period of time, along with the raft of changes to their squad the Lions have had to make to gear up for their first season outside of the National League system in 12 years, I think it'll hold them back from an immediate return to the National League North. I think a season of consolidation just outside the playoffs is on the cards.
Right, I thought Guiseley would have a season of consolidation outside the playoffs after dropping down from the National League North, but I did not expect them to finish as far down as they did.
Our first team to make the playoffs in 5th is Bamber Bridge, with former Wigan, Blackpool and Barnsley midfielder David Perkins signed on for the season, as well as legendary ex-Fleetwood Town defender Nathan Pond playing up front. Bamber Bridge have a good blend of youth and experience in their squad. That should see them go one better than last time out and secure a playoff spot this season.
I knew Bamber Bridge would have an impressive season, but I was still surprised with how well it actually did in the end. A third place finish before heartbreak in the playoff final, conceding in the 90th minute to miss out on promotion to the National League North. A lot to be proud of there, but still another wrong prediction.
In fourth is Radcliffe FC. Signings like Nicky Adams from Oldham, Jem Caracan from Scunthorpe and Rick Smith from Warrington Rylands show a real statement of intent at Radcliffe and will help lift them from mid-table obscurity to real playoff contenders this season.
I don't think I did too badly with this one. Still wrong, but Radcliffe were playoff contenders, just missing out by 2 points. Far from my worst prediction in the list.
Third spot is FC United of Manchester. With a savvy acquisition of attacking talent such as Eddie Miyako and Jack Anderton, an experienced former Swansea City defender Curtis Obeng, all marshalled by Neil Reynolds and his attractive brand of football, I think FC United are set for a great season.
Again, not the worst prediction in the world, but yet another one wrong. They were top of the league in October, I put them third, and they looked like one of the favourites for playoffs, but like Hyde United, they did fall away as the season progressed, ending up in a respectable 8th. Let's just hope I've put the last two in the right order.
Second place is Warrington Town. Everyone expected Warrington Town to go on and win the playoffs last season, but it was Scarborough who pipped them in the final. I do think though they've got the character and quality to go again and secure promotion via the same path this season.
I actually can't believe it, I actually got it spot on. I said Warrington Town would finish second and win the playoffs, and what did they do? That Isaac Buckley-Ricketts 90th minute goal might have actually saved this video.
And finally, in top spot, it's South Shields. As the only full-time team in the league, it's only a matter of time until South Shields are promoted to the National League North, and I think this season will be the one where they finally get over the line. They've also recruited really well this summer, bringing in a good blend of youth and experience from teams in the National League North, National League and even League 2. Surely it's South Shields' time to go up.
Yes, finishing off with another one right. In fairness though, like the Macclesfield prediction, I can't really celebrate this one too much. South Shields were everyone's pick to win the league, and in the end, they did it quite comfortably by 8 points, but still, I'll take it. Another one right to finish off the video. So guys, there you have it. That concludes my reaction to my Northern Premier League predictions. I got 4 out of 42 right. That's less than 10%. I think that has to go down as catastrophic failure. But let me know what you thought in the comments. If you made any pre-season predictions, how many did you get right? And which of my predictions was the worst? Surely it's got to be either that Hanley Town or Hyde United shout. But guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please do not forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you never miss an upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back here for my pre-season predictions for next season and also all the pre-season content coming up soon on the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.